You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old past said. Boy, you got a friend in me.
Good morning, Gallup Hill School.
Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would everyone please remain standing for a moment of silence?
Good morning, Colonel. Would everyone please raise their right hand and repeat the BARC pledge with us? I promise to be accepting, responsible, and kind. Everyone may now be seated.
It's now time for a morning announcement.
Summer break. Don't get me wrong, going to school is great. You get to hang out with your friends every day and learn all kinds of new things, but the summer is also pretty amazing. And one of the best things about summer is that it's warm enough to do science experiments outside. One super fun thing to do outside is blow tons of bubbles. Bubbles might seem simple. They just float around for a little bit and then pop. But there's a whole bunch of science going on in the short life of a bubble.
Today at the fort, we're blowing bubbles. This is an official summer fun alert. If you've had the chance to blow bubbles at school or in your backyard, then you know that it can be really fun to make them and to pop them. And they're also a pretty cool way to learn some science. First, let's practice blowing bubbles. To blow bubbles, you need two things: bubble liquid, which is mostly made of soap and water, and the stick you blow the bubbles out of, which is called the wand. I'll dip my wand into the bubble liquid and blow, but not too hard. If I blow too hard, then I'll blow the liquid right out of the wand. So I need to blow a steady stream of air through the bubble liquid, nice and slow. And I get a bunch of bubbles. Bubbles are just a really thin layer of soap and water around a pocket of air. If we could cut a bubble in half and look at it really closely, we would see that the bubble is actually made up of layers. There's a layer of water between two layers of soap. It kind of looks like a sandwich. The soap layers are like the bread of a sandwich, and the water is like the sandwich filling. The layers of the bubble surround the air inside the bubble and keep it inside. Water without soap doesn't make bubbles very well because water likes to stick together. Water's made up of lots of little tiny pieces or particles, so small that you can't even see them, but they're there. These particles are attracted to each other, meaning that they're pulling towards each other like magnets, so they stick together. For example, check out this insect. It can walk on top of this pond because the particles that make up the water in the pond are all attracted to each other. They stick together so much that the insect can walk on the water without falling in. The little particles in water are pulled together so strongly that they can't spread out into a thin bubble with air inside. If we tried to blow a bubble with plain water, the water in the bubble would just pull back together into a water droplet. But when you add soap, it helps the water spread out without being pulled back together by making that soap and water sandwich. And then you get bubbles. There's something else special about bubbles too. Bubbles can be lots of different sizes, from super tiny to gigantic. But have you noticed that they're all the same shape? That's right, they're round, just like the wand we used to blow the bubbles. But what would happen if we used a wand that was a different shape, like this one? That's right, it's shaped like a diamond. So what do you think will happen when I blow bubbles from this diamond-shaped wand? Squeaks thinks that they'll be diamond-shaped. Let's try it and see what happens. When I dip the wand into the bubble liquid and blow, the bubbles are still round, even though the wand that I blew the bubbles from wasn't round. It's round because of that water layer, the filling of the bubble sandwich. Even though the soap helps the water spread out into a bubble by making the particles in the water less attracted to each other, they're still a little bit attracted to each other. And when the water particles pull on each other around the air inside, they give the bubble its round shape. So even if our wand has corners, the attraction in the particles that make up water pull those corners out and give us a nice round bubble every time. I guess you like popping them, Squeaks. Me too. But do you know why they pop? If something breaks the attraction between the water particles that make up the bubble's water layer, like Squeaks' nose or my fingertips, the air is able to get out and the bubble pops. It's a lot like popping a balloon with something sharp. When you poke a hole in the balloon, the air gets out and the balloon pops. When you touch a bubble with your finger, you're basically poking a hole in the bubble. So, do you want to pop some more, Squeaks? Okay, let's head outside and blow some more bubbles.
Yeah, you could blow bubbles inside, Squeaks, but outside they float around in the wind and you have more room to blow gigantic bubbles. Another thing that's more fun to do when it's nice and warm outside is fly a kite. Can you imagine being outside on a cold, windy winter day, running through the snow to try and get your kite in the air? Brr. And a great thing about kites is that you don't have to go buy one. You can make your own with a little help from a grown-up.
It's a beautiful day. So Squeaks and I, we're just about to go to the park and do one of our favorite summer activities. Fly kites. Kites come in all shapes, sizes, and colors. You could buy them at a store, but Squeaks and I really want to build our own. Most basic kites are big and flat with a long tail. They're connected to a long piece of string, which you can hang on to so you can control how they fly. How do kites fly? That's a great question, Squeaks. There's more to how a kite stays up in the air than you might think. It all has to do with that big flat part of the kite, which is called the sail. As the kite flies through the air, the sail is tilted, so the back of the kite is a little bit lower than the front of the kite. The tilt is really important for keeping the kite in the air because it changes the way the air flows over the sail. As the air flows past, it pushes on the sail, but because the kite is tilted, the air rushing past the bottom of the kite pushes up on the kite harder than the air flowing past it on the top. With the air pushing up on the bottom of the sail, the kite can stay in the air without falling down. But there's something else that helps kites stay up in the air besides the big flat sail. Can you guess what it is, Squeaks? That's right, the big long tail. The tail weighs down one side of the sail, which keeps the kite tilted so the air rushes past in just the right way to push up on the kite and keep it flying.
That's all for our program today. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great day. Bye!